tiger's blood and the cocaine.
Yep. That's his life. He's just winning.
Winning.
I think he said, I worked, the regular jobs at Cold Stone and Target and Starbucks. Target.
He had to walk barefoot in the snow uphill both ways to get home from school.
So tiger's blood. No tiger's blood actually in there. Well, 60% of the time, there's no tiger blood in there.
60% of the time, you get a pump every time. All right, and welcome back to another episode of the 1% Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Vin.
And I'm Shane.
And today, we're going to talk about winning.
I love it.
Straight up.
Charlie Sheen winning?
Good start. It's a good start.
It's a great start.
Yeah, it's the first win.
There's this, oh man, let me tell you something. This wasn't even supposed to come out today, but, it's just going to be here because you mentioned Charlie Sheen. There is this absolutely amazing pre-workout that I love.
Oh, it could have gone so much worse. You could have said so many other worse things.
Well, those stories aren't appropriate for the podcast, but there's this amazing friggin' pre-workout that I love. It's actually called Tiger's Blood. And so, well, it's who's it by? It's by Total War. Total War.
Not by Charlie Sheen.
What?
It's not by Charlie Sheen?
He should look into suing them potentially.
Oh,
but
okay. So, all right, here we go.
It's a phenomenal freaking pre-workout. I drink it, and I was at the gym one day, and I was talking to the guy behind the desk. I was like, "Yeah, you got any more of those tiger's bloods?" And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you got any tiger blood?" He's like, and then the guy next to him was like, "Oh yeah, I got some tiger blood." He goes in the fridge, he brings it out, and he's like, "Bro, what is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's pre-workout." He's like, "Yeah, but why is it called tiger's blood?" I was like, "What do you mean? There's actual tiger's blood in it." He's like, "No, it doesn't." I'm like, "Yeah, it does, dude." I was like, "Because they put it in the pre-workout because tiger's blood is highly adrenalized, and so when you drink it, you get this ridiculous pump, and it's not a lot. It's like a super small sample of tiger's blood in there, but like it's enough to actually get you going." Guys, like, dude, you
tiger's blood in there?
See, even I got you going.
Yeah, wait. I thought you were actually telling me the ingredients on the back. I didn't know you were telling me the actual story here. I thought the ingredients had tiger's blood. I'm like, how is this FDA approved? Like, what is going on right now? And what does this have to do with Charlie Sheen? I haven't heard any reference of Charlie Sheen in this.
Because Charlie Sheen said he has tiger's blood in him.
I got tiger blood, man.
Oh, I see. In the roast, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Long story short, just like you, I had the kid kind of believing that there was tiger's blood in there, and then I think the other guy was like, "Dude, he's totally screwing with you." Like,
yeah.
He's like,
yeah, I didn't believe it. That's I thought you were actually reading the label, like, yeah, there's a small dose of tiger's blood in there, and really,
yeah, look at that. There it is. The adrenalized tiger's blood.
Is that it?
No, this is something else. I was just using a label for demonstration.
Oh, I see.
For those of you that are watching on video.
So tiger's blood. No tiger's blood actually in there. Well, 60% of the time, there's no tiger blood in there.
60% of the time, you get a pump every time.
Oh, Ron Burgundy. We're going to get some lawsuits in here.
Yes. The smell of rich mahogany lawsuits coming in.
Oh, milk was a bad choice.
For any of our listeners that has no idea what we're saying, neither do we. Don't worry about it.
No. Go watch Anchorman is what we're saying.
Watch Anchorman, the roast of Charlie Sheen. You get all the references in all the weird places.
Right. So winning. Winning's the topic today, right?
Oh, see, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen says winning when he was hyped up on tiger's blood and the cocaine.
Yep. That's his life. He's just winning.
Winning.
I think he said it so many times in, what was he doing? It wasn't in the roast, but it was in some sort of publicity interview that he did. He's getting like 45 times because I'm winning. I'm winning.
You mean his drug-fueled interviews?
Well, it's Charlie Sheen. I mean, did we expect anything less?
The man from 2.5 Men who had a woman on every episode.
I mean, let's be real here. 2.5 Men was a phenomenal show.
So good.
Was on there.
No, so good.
Obviously, it got a lot worse. I watched, I think, 5 or 6 episodes because, don't get me wrong, I love Ashton Kutcher. I think Ashton Kutcher is a good guy. He's a good actor. I like him in a lot of shows. I even liked him in Punk'd back in the day. So I'm like, I'm going to give this a shot. But then they tried to like almost make him Charlie Sheen instead of like, he was a dumb billionaire. If for those people who didn't watch the new 2.5 Men, he was this like dumb billionaire. And that's kind of how he portrayed it. But then he kind of transitioned into like, they wanted to make him into Charlie Sheen, which I hate that people do that. They did that in The Office. You know, they made Andy Bernard into Michael Scott. Terrible, just progressively went downhill. And then the show finally ended. So anyways.
Yeah. Talk about a show that was no longer winning and should have ended a while back. Yeah, I'm with you on that. The new episodes did not cut it. There was no joy in there.
Right.
So let's talk about winning, but not the kind of winning Charlie Sheen does with the white stuff. How do you actually win, or what does it look like to win, or well, more importantly, who do we give a crap about winning? What are your thoughts on winning? How are we winning?
You know, there's a book, and I don't want to butcher the title of the book.
Yes, you do.
But it's called, I think it's called Making Your Bed Every Morning. Does that ring a bell? Make Your Bed Every Morning, something around those lines.
There's a speech called Make Your Bed Every Day. I don't know about a book.
Yeah, I haven't personally read it, but I have listened to the speech. So maybe it is just speech. I thought it was framed off of a book. But it's a military guy, right?
Navy captain, Navy general.
Who is talking about making your bed every day. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because that's the first win that you can chalk up. Is your bed's undone, you're getting out of bed. The first win that you can just check off the box is making your bed. Nice and tidy, it's ready for you at, the next evening, you're good to go. So there's a lot of wins, and I think wins kind of get overlooked. There's obviously small wins, big wins, but I think just realizing that, the small wins count and celebrating obviously the bigger ones. Obviously it's a more generalized approach, but winning's awesome. Like what more is there to say about it? We're obviously going to go into examples of winnings and how awesome they really are, but you guys know how it is. But listen to that speech by that Navy general or captain about making your bed every morning. So
as you're talking, it's like winning is freaking awesome, man. It's like it is one of the greatest things ever, but it's really not that great if you don't lose enough to make it valuable.
Well, failure's the journey. That's the best part.
Right. Well, it's interesting too, right? Because I work with a lot of successful people. I work with people who are like millionaires, and I work with people who are big businesses, small businesses, all walks of life. And there's this common thread amongst a lot of people that believe that if they're unhappy in this moment, when they finally win, they will be, and that's never the truth. So like when they finally get the goal, actually what happens is they go into a downward spiral, because when they achieve the thing that they have sacrificed so much for and been suffering and unhappy for, because they thought that, and when they finally got there, everything would change, they realize actually nothing changes, and that sends them into a downward spiral because they put all of their hope into that one win, that when they finally got it, life would change and all of a sudden they'd have happiness and meaning and all this crap. Never happens. So what's the most important is having sustained wins balanced by sustained losses. And I think honestly a pretty good ratio might even be a more loss to win ratio. Like it's funny though, because in video games we want the higher win to loss ratio, but in life I think there's a lot more fulfillment in a higher loss to win ratio. Like you don't need to win 1,000 times. You need like one powerful win after like 100 failures.
Yep. I mean, you're right. I still believe that failure, even in video games, the journey of losing and what not to do kind of teaches you, how to get to your ultimate goal, which is to win, to beat the game.
Yeah, but nobody wants to lose at video games. That's not fun.
But I can definitely contest towards the goals. Like I came from nothing, and I didn't have a rich family. We didn't live, by the beach in a penthouse in a mansion. Like I went to public school. I got suspended. I worked, the regular jobs at Cold Stone and Target and Starbucks.
Target. He had to walk barefoot in the snow uphill both ways to get home from school.
2.5 miles. Yeah. No, that's not true. But that's the old, story goes. But what I'm getting at is, I finally reached my goals, one of my goals in business, and I was able to buy the big house and, the shiny ornament that is on the driveway. And to be honest, and, the watches and stuff like that, it doesn't make you happy. It's just things. They're just material. Like, the thing that makes me happy the most is my family. Like, I think people take that for granted too. Like, happiness really does come. It's not money, from family, from your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids. Like, I try to live in the moment as much as I can and turn off my phone. I've talked about this before, like at 6, 7 o'clock, and just like be in the moment, because that's where true happiness comes from.
He's a terrible texter too.
That's the ultimate winning. Terrible texter. A lot of my friends will say the same thing. I prefer phone calls. I like phone calls. I like engagements. That's where the emotional connection is from, is full vocals. So
He definitely inspires emotions in everybody that he doesn't answer because he leaves us on red.
okay, now I'm being called out here as a texter here when I'm trying to give sentimental family as number one. Thanks.
Hey. So, you brought up something though. I think it's important to jump back to, because I'm curious about it. Because you have the things that everybody believes will make them happy, and you can actually attest to the fact that it doesn't make you happy. Why though? Like, and we hear this all the time, right? So for any of our listeners, they're probably hearing something right now that I'm about to parrot. It's like, money doesn't make you happy. Getting the things doesn't make you happy. It's very hard to understand that as somebody who doesn't have the things to looking outside looking in. It makes it difficult. It's like, well, it's easy for you to say that it doesn't make you happy when you have it, but me, I don't have it, and I want a Rolex, or I want a Benz, or I want this, and blah, blah, blah. So for those people out there that are in that state of mind, it's like, well, you can at least say it doesn't make you happy because you have it. I don't even know what it's like to experience it. What would you tell that person? Because I think this is a very common conversation that comes up, but I feel like nobody ever elaborates. Everybody that has money is just like, it doesn't make you happy. It's like, well, I don't know. Money would solve all my fucking problems.
Money is a gateway. It's a tool. It's not really a tool for happiness, but it is a tool for a better lifestyle. It's nice not living paycheck to paycheck and having all of your bills paid for, and still going to the grocery store and realizing that chips are $6 for a bag. That's insane, right? So still having that kind of mentality there, that being realistic with cost versus what you're actually getting. But when it comes to these gifts that you give yourself, the main reason why I have a G-Wagon is it's a company vehicle. It's over 6,000 pounds. I bought it because it was a write-off, so I primarily use that. IRS, it's my company vehicle. It's what I drive, okay? If you're listening to IRS, that's what it is. The Rolexes, they're company gifts. For year after year, I will gift myself a Rolex. It's nice. They're great to have. It's considered company clothing. I know my CPA doesn't like it very much, but it's a corporate gift considered a write-off. Now, do I like them? Yes. Are they a necessity towards life? No. Does it provide happiness? That's what we're talking about here. Happiness. No, absolutely not. Is it better driving the Mercedes than we have a minivan? It's nicer, but does it really give you the pride and joy? To me, no, it doesn't. It's been sitting in my garage for 2.5 months, and I haven't driven it once in 2.5 months. And it's on Auto Trader right now. So if you want to go buy it, please go check it out. But these things, that's what I'm talking about. These things that get taken advantage of when you actually do have money. When I remember wanting a Lamborghini when I was a kid, thinking, oh, my life was going to be amazing. If I had a Lamborghini, what's going to change? You're going to get more looks. You're going to get more attention.
You get where you got to go faster. Yeah.
And more speeding tickets, more bills, higher insurance policies. So this is what I started thinking of. So I want to get back to the logistics here, though. Money is a tool. It's when you get to a point where you're no longer living paycheck to paycheck, and you're comfortable and you're building up your foundation, and you can afford these extremities, these nice gifts, they're nice to have, but they do not make you happy. So hopefully you can see it like that. Because once you have it, like I could show you right here, both my my Rolexes, I have 2 of them. They're in a case. I wear them when I go and see Vin. So, and that's
Remind me, I don't have one, and that he has to go to his AG.
to Ryan 8. Oh God, I'm not gonna even fix that one there. But to remind him that it's just nothing but just materialistic things, you know. But maybe on the other side of the spectrum, I'm curious to, you know, you don't have a Rolex. Why do you think this facade, you know, of owning something so expensive is going to make you happy? Maybe not necessarily a Rolex, but just using that in general, right? Because I've been out of that mindset for a while now. So
Yeah.
let's put this, you know, shoe on the other side of the foot here. You know,
Oh,
where you are. Go ahead.
I don't think it'll make me happy. I'm talking about mostly for a lot of the people that are under the impression that these things will make them happy. I'm under the implication, and this I do know to be true, is that experiences are what create happiness, and they fuel emotion. So for me, I love sports cars. I know for a fact when I get my dream car, my goal car, I'm going to be very happy because I love the experience of driving.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah, go for
Let me
it.
ask you this. You're going to get that sports car, right? We know it's
yeah.
gonna. One day you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Just like I got mine. I got
Sure.
the Mercedes is a business thing. I didn't really want it, but let's say I got it. Now you have it. Now what?
Now you actually enjoy the experience of it. See,
But
and
does
I
it make you happy? Like continually?
it's well. See, here's the thing. It's not
Or do you
about
want to be better and bigger next time. And will that make you happy?
no. See that's a
Sod.
no. But see, here's the thing, right? There's like a lack. There's either a lack or an abundance mindset that you could have about it. So the car that I have right now, I'm still very happy. I've been driving it for over a year. I get in it. I enjoy it but I also enjoy driving. Like I love it. Part of my history is I used to be in car clubs. I used to go to car meets. I used to street race. I used to do a lot of fun stuff with cars. Like cars is like a passion. And so when I get in a car, the biggest thing that actually makes me enjoy the experience is the sound and the feel. So when I get in my car right now, it's got a little bit of a tuned up exhaust. It's got a turbo in it. I hit the gas, I hear the whoosh. I hear the whirl of the turbo, like the nice whistle. I like to open the window so I can hear the whistle.
Oh, you're
And
that
then-
guy.
Oh yeah, and then I hear like the little like the vroom of the exhaust, and I enjoy that, and I enjoy the experience of driving. So for me, it's not about like I'm very content with the car I have. I'm usually content with the cars I have because I usually get cars that I want to enjoy, and so for me, I don't see it as something. Happiness isn't unsustainable unless you make it unsustainable. Happiness becomes unsustainable when you say if I have this, I will be happy. When you can be happy with anything you have, it's all about perspective. I've had my tattoos for, man, some of them are almost as old as 10 years now. I still love them every single day. I look at them. I'm so happy with them. I feel proud of them. I thoroughly enjoy just sometimes looking at them and checking out the artwork. It's been 10 years. So I find that realistically, happiness is sustained through your just capability of how you're going to look at things. It has nothing to do with if you actually are getting the thing or the next thing or whatever. Like I don't give a shit about a Rolex. I'd go buy a Rolex. I know there's Rolexes out there for $3,000 to $5,000. I'd go buy one of those and have a Rolex like everybody else. I don't care about it though. And one day maybe I'll get it because then, you know, eventually I could justify spending, you know, 20, 40K or some shit, and I don't know, it'll be a good investment, right? Because you could flip it. You could flip it. It's not a bad investment. It's not.
Another reason why.
Yeah.
But they don't make you happy. That's what I'm trying to get. So
Right.
car clubs, you're adding a lot of factors into things. Like this car that you're going to get, I honestly think that it would make you happy because it's been a goal for yours for a while. What I'm saying is just like the house, the cars, the Rolex, when you have these goals and ambitions and you accomplish them, which is the downward spiral you're talking about, what comes next after that? And I feel like it's hard for people to understand, you know, why it doesn't make you happy. Like once you've achieved these, it's like, now what? I'm supposed to be happy. I've gotten these things.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't make them happy because they're putting their stock in the fact that having the thing will make them happy. When they're not right, when they're not realizing that happiness is an internal game.
Right.
But here's the kicker to your point too, is that humans always need to be striving for something.
Amen.
Like, that's part of our being. If we aren't striving to achieve, if we aren't striving to be productive, to make progress, you're going to be unhappy anyway. Like, you could have $1 billion in the bank and then sit there and just be like, okay, I've won at life. You're going to get bored. You're going to go out of your mind. You're going to go into vices. Like, you're just going to drugs, sex, partying, alcohol, because then you have nothing else to do. So if you don't fill your life with fulfillment, you'll fill it with vices.
Amen. Yeah. I feel like vices doesn't necessarily always have to be bad things. You know, like some cards, sports cards and things like that can be a very addicting, costly personality too. That doesn't necessarily make you happy anymore. So just be leery of good vices too, even though they're investments.
Right. And make sure you purchase Shane's sport cards.
Yes, Interstellar. Go check it.
Interstellar. You gotta go make that purchase and get yourself into outer space. So,
how dare you?
Shane, I think your card's out of this world.
Okay, wow. Here come the cool puns.
Feeling very punny tonight. So, we definitely got sidetracked on winning because we were talking about something that was a little bit more important. But I know the initial thought on winning is see everybody win, right? Be happy for people. See people in the spaces where you want to see them at, right? Like, one of my favorite things is the whole you can't compete with me because I'm not competing with you. I want to see you win too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I like that saying, even though it's probably overused and a little corny at this point, but I still like it. I think it's important to truly be there for the people around you, right? Like, it's so confusing to me when people get jealous of their friends. I've had to end multiple friendships because of the crap that I dealt with from me moving in a specific direction and them not being a fan of it. Like,
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, keeping up with the Joneses is still a thing, and it's not going anywhere. People are addicted to this, to money, and unfortunately, that when other people, especially friends, are more successful, it doesn't become like an idolization or even questions. Hey, how did you get there? That's another thing that, unfortunately, I've been in the same boat that I've dealt with and lost some friends as well. I'm not saying it was a pure jealousy factor, but it's just changed our relationship. They don't ask. No one asks for help on investments or in business, or just in general. I don't know if they're afraid or they just don't know what the outcome's going to be, but they don't ask. And I think strictly just that, changes everything. I will say it's difficult when you do have friends and you're on different paths of life, at this point. Maybe you weren't in college or in high school or wherever it is, but when in life, you go on different paths. Kids, marriage, some people are single, some people are successful, some people, work 9 to 5s every single day, which we talked about. That's not a problem because there's still obviously no stress really involved in that outside of, living paycheck to paycheck. So
it's like there's no stress involved in other than, being pretty broke and barely surviving. But other than that, you're good.
But you really have to understand, like, that's all mindset. Like, if you see it that way, then you need to want to have a better life. You need to want to do better things and do that. Otherwise, you're just failing yourself. But I know multiple people that have their 9 to 5 jobs. They go to church, they spend time with their family, they go to vacations once or twice a year, they're perfectly happy, and that's it. I mean, who am I to say anything else besides that? That's amazing. But if you're here listening to this and you're complaining and, why me and why this and why you and yada, 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 then change it.
Yeah, shut up.
I guess I don't really understand it. I think that's where the whole word of winning is really, it's based on individual person. Like everybody's got a different definition of winning, even though the overall, dictionary definition of winning is the same thing. Everybody's winning different ways.
What exactly is the definition of winning in the dictionary?
Oh, great. I wasn't expecting a follow-up question, but to put it in a very general base on this, to not look completely stupid, we're going to look it up because obviously it is gaining, resulting in, or relating to victory in a contest or competition, which I think that's one adjective version of winning. Like I said, there's different variations of that, in my opinion.
It's funny because we have all these definitions to describe all these different things in life, but the reality is you can honestly say anything about anything and you can make your own realities, right? Like I could sit there and I could lose terribly and I could be like, yeah, man, I'm still winning. It's like, how are you winning? You just lost terribly. It's like, because now I know what not to do. And next time I'm totally going to dominate.
One version.
So that's kind of the cool thing about life, and this life specifically, is that you have the opportunity to do whatever you want with it. Winning is just a mindset. It really is. Every winner out there was a loser at one point until they finally broke through and won. That's all it takes. You're a loser until you win, and that's okay, because that's how it goes. You have to. I failed a lot. I know Shane's failed a lot. It's not about how often you win, and that's why I hate social media. I really do. I participate in it, but I hate it so much because it's all fake. It's all crap. It's all smoke and mirrors. The people you look up to, they probably bought their way there. The people that you admire because of their following, they probably bought that too. The people that tell you they can fix you, create miracles, and sell you snake oil because snake oil exists, they're all full of crap. And it's so freaking crazy because we idolize people that are full of crap posting their highlights. Like the dude who bought his way to the top is going to post about how he's at the top, but he's not going to tell you he paid every penny to get there. He's not going to say that ever. So it's like when you're looking at your life, your reality is subjective to whatever you want it to be. Your reality is whatever you're going to make it. If you want to win, just go win. Like stop settling to lose. Stop settling with defeat. And that's how you actually never lose. Because if you refuse to settle, video games, great example. Oh, I know some of you listeners are probably gamers. How many of you have stayed up way later than you should have until maybe 5 or 6 a.m.? I'm raising my hand. Because you can't go out on a loss.
Oof. Man.
It happens in Call of Duty, man. You're playing, it's like, I can't log out on a loss. And you go on a losing streak, but you get extra stubborn. And now it's like, all right, I finally won. I can go to bed. But then it's like, oh, but now I won. I'm on a winning streak.
I've definitely been there before.
Then you go and
oof.
Nah, man, I tell you, once you hit that win, you gotta go again because you can't end when you're hot.
Oh God.
So you play a few more games.
That's like the classic gambler's addiction right there. It's like, oh man, I just lost 20 hands in a row, but oh man, I won 3 in a row. Now I'm saying I gotta stay. Oh, I'm gonna bet bigger now.
You're hot. Keep going, damn it. You're a winner.
Never leave on a heater.
See, I mean, well, Shane said that devices could be healthy as well, like cards or maybe video games.
I don't think they're necessarily healthy. They're a distraction. That's all vices are, a distraction. But
right.
And maybe this distraction is saying, Shane, you need to get more involved and do 44 to 5 episodes of the 1% podcast a week. And,
yes.
Really take Vin's time away.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start just bringing my kid on here.
We need to win more. Yeah. I'm going to tell my wife to watch both of our kids more so I can do more of these. We're winning.
Listen, with the one viewer we have as our witness, this is going to be a damn big podcast one day, and you'll wish we did 5 episodes a week.
Look out, Joe Rogan. We're coming.
We're coming, man. We're going to be talking about lizard men and stuff, too. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Right.
We're just as cool. Oh, man. Well, Folks, it has been spectacular talking about winning and money and mindset and Tiger's Blood and Charlie Sheen and 2.5 Men and Anchorman. It's a really interesting episode. So if you fast forwarded to the end and you just heard that summary, you definitely got to go back and watch it. But as always, we're excited to jump on next time, talk about, well, something else. We'll figure it out probably like 5 minutes before the podcast. But we're looking forward to it. As always, thanks a lot for listening to the 1%. I'm your host, Vin.
I'm Shane.
And we will see you next time.